Megan Olivi and Brett Okamoto. We're going to start the Olivi-Okamoto show at some point, but I want to talk about this. Okalivi! Yes, let's go. Let's talk about this Abu Dhabi card. I know you are leaving to travel there very shortly, and there's a lot to be excited about. 2 titles-ish on the line here. Let's talk about the main event. What are you looking forward to when it comes to Yan Blachowicz and his return against Glover Teixeira?
Just the storylines involved are so good with these two. It's one of those fights where it feels like the entire sport feels good for both guys. I wish that somebody didn't have to lose this fight, that type of fight, because it's because of everything that they've been through, right? Yan Blachowicz, his story is well documented at this point that, he was nearly cut by the UFC because he got off to that really brutal start. And I think he told me, prior to, I believe it was the Adesanya fight, that he just had to start believing in himself. He wanted, when he got into the UFC, he felt like he needed to change a whole bunch of stuff. Like he left his camp. He's like, now I'm in the UFC. I got to go focus on wrestling. I got to go focus on this and that. And so after that slow start, he said, no, I knew what I was doing. So we went back to his old camp, and he's been very successful ever since. And then Glover, who would have had Glover in this spot a couple years ago? This guy is into his 40s, not usually the time that you have this resurgence, and now you're vying for a UFC championship with a good chance of winning it. Right now, Yan is so hot that it's hard to bet against him. But I think, you talk to a lot of people in this industry, and they believe that Glover has a very, very good shot against him.
I know. And when you mention the storylines, they're 2 great guys that you just don't want to see lose. For either of them, it's like your Tio Glover and your Uncle Yan. That's how it feels like. Like they're family members to you. But in the co-main event, this is an interim title fight. And Cory Sandhagen is stepping in to take on Petr Yan. Now, Aljamain Sterling, still the champion at bantamweight. So this is for that interim title. But Brett, does it feel like a real title fight here?
I don't care because it's just an amazing 5-round fight, right? And in some ways, yes, because a lot of people look at Yan as the champ, and if he's not the champ, then at least it's disputed, right? That the way in which Aljamain won that, and even Aljamain kind of acknowledges that, I think he's embracing it now, and he's like, I can't please everybody, so he's kind of trolling people with some of his comments. But at the end of the day, Aljamain says that, the rules are the rules, and so yes, I won that match, but no, I don't completely 100%, I understand where the fans are coming from. Now, Aljamain's point is that I thought that the title fight should have been me and Cory Sandhagen to begin with when I beat Cory Sandhagen. So that's why I feel like a champion. Petr Yan feels like a champion. There's a lot of different people. TJ Dillashaw feels like a champion. Everyone at bantamweight feels like a champion already. And so I just think that this matchup is so good, and it's super interesting because you're looking at it as we saw what was happening in that Petr Yan Aljamain fight. Now, that doesn't mean that Aljamain can't come back and really write a different narrative in the next one. But Petr Yan was having his way in that fight when that knee landed. And I think that Cory Sandhagen is actually a terrible matchup for Petr Yan. He could be a bad matchup. He represents a lot of different stylistic things that I think Yan will have trouble with, just like Yan represents things that Aljamain had trouble with. And Aljamain has it win over Cory Sandhagen. So it's kind of like this rotating thing where they're all bad matchups for each other. And it just so happens that these two are fighting now for an interim championship, not the undisputed title. But it's a very, very tough fight for Petr Yan.
Yes, and it's what makes bantamweight so great is because anybody can beat anybody on any given night. And that's why we love to watch that division. Before we go, Brett, a couple of names, Dan Hooker, Hamza Chimaev. People are looking forward to their performances for different reasons, for different matchups. What are you looking forward to the most when we're looking outside of these title fights? I'm looking
at Hamza Chimaev. We all saw what happened in 2020. It was just like, I remember when he was going to fight Leon Edwards, I was writing a story about how we just don't, this is not even rare. You never see this. You don't see somebody come in. We didn't know who this guy was prior to him emerging at Fight Island. All of a sudden, he's going to fight Leon Edwards, who some fans are like, hey, Leon needs to do more. He needs to be more impressive against Nate Diaz. The win streak that this man has put forth, and now Hamza Chimaev was going to fight him in his 4th fight in the UFC when only one of his fights was at welterweight, the other 2 were at middleweight. Like, this doesn't make any sense, but it's because of all the potential that Hamza Chimaev has. So I am looking forward to seeing that potential again on display. I'm also, of course, looking forward to seeing the savage of Dan Hooker, who was at the Apex tonight. He's just like on a permanent vacation, he's homeless, he's countryless, and he's just living in Vegas, coming to the Apex, and now he's going to fly over to Fight Island and take on who a lot of people think are the scariest guy in the division right now in Islam Makhachev. So it's a great card. It's a great main card for sure. It truly is. Yeah, credit to Dan Hooker for just staying in Las Vegas and making it work. Those are the sacrifices that we talk about. The sacrifices away from your family, his children. Mm-hmm. That you really have to commit to in order to find success at the highest level. It is a great card. You can watch it on ESPN+. Brett will be there with all of your coverage all week long from Abu Dhabi. Brett, safe travels. Oh, thank you, Megan.
We'll start that show after, I guess.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.